911, do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911, a tragic accident.
I just pushed her off the chair and started to roll her around.
Leaves a child severely burned.
I couldn't believe what I saw.
But were her sister's heroics enough to save her? Plus, she was helping a neighbor. A man she'd never met.
She was shot by a rapist.
Now she's fighting for her life.
You've got to hurry, please.
On Rescue 911.
When the people we love most are threatened, we can only hope that those around them are prepared to come to their rescue. Just after Christmas in 1991, Kelly Unger went upstairs to take a shower, leaving 5-year-old Megan watching television downstairs with her 9-year-old sister, Janet.
Look at his face. Look at his belly button. I'm hungry. We were just watching cartoons and I decided to make some oatmeal. So I turned on the gas on the stove. I heard her screaming then. I'm all, oh my gosh, Megan, what's happened? So I ran over there and I just pushed her off the chair and started to roll her around. She thought I was trying to hurt her, but I just knew by then that I should stop, drop the roll.
When we continue.
When you hear a scream like that, you know that there's something wrong. It was like everything was going in slow motion. I couldn't get down there fast enough. When you hear a scream like that, you know there's no talking about it. You know that there's something wrong. It was like everything was going in slow motion. I couldn't get down there fast enough. When I came in the kitchen, my stomach was sick. I couldn't believe what I saw. She was burnt and she had skin sloughing off, and it was just a real ugly sight. I used to be an EMT, so I knew I had to get her upstairs and get her in the bathtub. But when I grabbed her around her underwear, and that probably was the most scariest part because I could feel it was like it was charcoal to her body, and that's when I knew we were in real trouble. I tried to turn it on so it wasn't too cold to put her into shock, but it had to be cool enough to cool the burn down too. And I told Jen to stay with her, and I ran down the stairs and called 911.
Among those responding to Kelly's 911 call was Hemet Valley paramedic Joe Seibert.
When you roll on a call like this, you definitely try to block out any emotions that you possibly could have, but it's difficult because a child is involved.
Megan said, I'm gonna die, and I'm all, no you aren't. But I was really scared.
I know. Here, turn around this way, Jen. Okay, come on, here we go.
I put the sheet in the water and got it soaked really good, and then I grabbed Megan and I wrapped her in it. And I just held her and talked to her because that was the most important thing at that time. She was scared to death, she was crying, and she was hurt.
Paramedics got to the scene within 9 minutes.
You could smell quite a bit of burning hair and skin as we walked up the walkway. At that point, we realized that there was a serious burn. We knew immediately that she was going to need to go to the regional burn center, so we then decided to call the helicopter to get her out there as soon as possible.
Let's go and order left light.
A ground transport would have been way too long and painful for her.
They put a sterile mask on her, and that bothered her because she felt like she was getting covered up and she couldn't see.
I'm right here.
I was worried about her not having enough skin or blood, and I was worried that she may have died.
I promised her I'd stay with her, and I told her that she needed to be brave, and she needed to be, just tough, and she needed to get through this and be strong. They had a partition between where they took care of the patient and where we sat. And I could hear the whole flight screaming. I knew they were trying to get an IV started. That was tough. That was really hard because I couldn't go back and talk to her. I couldn't comfort her or explain to her what they were trying to do.
Megan was brought by Life Flight to the San Bernardino County Medical Center, where she was treated by Dr. Randy Ficus.
She was in a great deal of pain. She had very extensive burns. The first 12 to 24 hours is a very critical period of time because late changes can develop that can be fatal.
Megan's father, Bill Unger, arrived while she was still in the emergency room.
Her face was puffed up. She had those little blue eyes, and she looked at me, and that's when everything really clicked with me, and I started losing it there. I never knew how serious burns were until this happened. I never took it as a life-threatening thing.
They took her upstairs to the burn unit. It was hard to see the elevator doors close because you want to be with her. You want to stay with her. And we couldn't stay with her.
After 5.5 weeks in the hospital, 5-year-old Megan Unger was released. Though her recovery has been remarkable, she still must undergo months of painful physical therapy and years of skin grafts.
Megan turned out to be quite an exceptional young lady. The last 2 or 3 weeks she was there, she helping all the nurses with distributing the food, and it just really turned out to be a bright spot in the unit.
Over your head. Now.
I can't praise the nurses enough at San Bernardino County. They just gave her so much. They really did. They gave her a lot of courage and a lot of love and a lot of strength. I don't know how she would have made it without the nurses that she had.
Yes, you can.
Even though she's scarred on the outside, I don't believe she's going to be scarred on the inside. And really, that's where the beauty is. I mean, you look at her, there's nothing wrong with her. She's still the same old Megan. Just as sweet as can be.
I'm grateful for Janet. If Janet hadn't been there, Megan may not be with us today.
I just knew that I gotta save my sister, and it's alright if I catch on fire too, because I know that I should stop, drop the roll. But Megan didn't know she was helpless, because she was just starting kindergarten that time.
My sister saved my life. She put stop, drop, and roll. I thank her. I thank her for doing that.
Next.
I never thought it would happen that that kind of violence would touch Portia's life in any kind of personal way.
On August 19th, 1991, Pat Douglas was dropping her daughter Portia off at her apartment after a dinner out together in their hometown of Indianapolis, Indiana. Neither of them had any sense of the terrifying events that were about to happen.
I thought I would stop at Portia's apartment to pick up a hat that I wanted to borrow. As I was sitting there, I noticed a young man looking out the window and kind of pacing back and forth. And at the time, I thought that was rather unusual behavior. I sort of had a mother instinct that something wasn't right about that. But then when Portia came down the steps, I totally forgot about him.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I never thought it would happen that that kind of violence would touch my life in any kind of personal way.
Hi, Portia had been on vacation, and this individual had just moved into the apartments. And he came out of his apartment and asked her to borrow some salt.
Okay, I guess so. Just a minute.
Emergency, are you reporting? I've just been shot twice. Shot? Who shot you? A rapist. Okay, where are you at now? Okay, let's get you an ambulance on the way. Okay. Stay on the line. Do you know who it was? No. It was the guy else. Fire dispatcher. Okay, Lawrence, we need an ambulance at 7607. It was purpose. She was shot by a rapist. Twice, once in the head. You been shot in the head? Sorry. Yeah, I'm in the head and in the chest. Okay, you're in a part.
Marion County Sheriff's Dispatcher Victoria Samuels had only been taking calls for a month.
And God forgot for me if I die. Tell my mother, my father, I love them. Okay, do you have a description?
I really almost lost it when she started telling me to call her parents in case she died and started giving me a message to tell them, and I thought, God, I don't want to have to make that call.
Okay. Do you have a description of this guy? Is he a white male or a black male? White male. About how old is he? 20s. 20s? Do you know his name? No, he didn't tell me. He's downstairs. Do you know his apartment number? No. Is the ambulance coming? Yeah, they're on their way.
Sheriff's deputies and rescue units were immediately dispatched, including Lawrence Township Fire paramedic Jeff Musar.
We had it as a person shot and the suspect was still in the area or on the scene and do not approach. Our fire station's right across the street from the apartment complex where the incident occurred, so we were there within 60 seconds. All we do basically is come in very quietly to the apartment complex and just sit off into a corner until the sheriff's department gets there. Standing by for Marion County.
So is he back downstairs still? Yes. I stopped breathing. He thought he killed me. But you know what? I've got a window. He could shoot me through the back window. You gotta hurry. Okay, it's all right. You locked the door. You're doing all right. We've got everybody on the way.
Sheriff's Deputy Kelly Hayes was on routine patrol 3 miles away when the report came over his radio.
The minute you hear, someone has been shot, you automatically know that the suspect's not afraid to use a weapon, and we were advised that he was still in the same area, so your adrenaline's pumping.
He shot me in the chest while I was spinning roadway. Have you got the bleeding stopped? No, it's still bleeding. Do you have anything to stick on it, like a cloth or your shirt or anything?
My nature was to worry about the medical side, but I had to remember that I'm in the police dispatch, and at this point in time, our protocol isn't to give medical information over the phone.
What kind of a gun was it? Handgun? Okay. Was it a pretty big gun?
And she was breathing real hard, so I was really concerned she would die before they got there.
Okay. You gotta hurry. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. I know he's gonna be back. He told me he wanted me to go out with him and get in his car, and I said no, and I fought him. Okay.
Assistant Supervisor Edward Bessing was monitoring the call.
We wanted to get an ambulance to her as soon as possible. We couldn't risk the firefighters' lives because we had no idea what was going on, if he was on a rampage or what he was doing.
Came up to borrow salt.
Do you know if he drives a car, ma'am?
He said he wanted me to go out and get his car with him.
Do you know what kind of car it is?
I was relaying the information that I was receiving to the dispatcher, who was in turn telling the officers in the field.
A newer one?
Okay. Oh, my lips are numb.
Also, you have a gunshot wound to the left side of the chest. Patient's experiencing difficulty breathing. 2-minute ETA.
If there's any changes, we'll be standing by for the sheriff. The apprehension and the anxiety of just sitting there waiting is the most frustrating part of it. You want to go in, but you know at the same time, if you go in there, you're going to be part of the problem and probably be shot too.
While officers were en route to the scene, a second call came into the sheriff's department.
Dispatch, do you have an emergency?
Yeah, I heard some gunfire going on not too long ago, and I walked in my apartment, and I found my gun wasn't here, so I don't know what's going on.
What's your address?
It's 7607 Ford Drive.
Okay, hold on just a second, okay?
He just seemed kind of weird. Then after I realized it was the same address that the lady was calling from, just a different apartment, I put 2 and 2 together.
and reported a break-in where the firearm has been stolen.
We knew the suspect was now in his apartment. He basically thought the victim was dead. Otherwise, he wouldn't have called in. He would have been up there to finish the job.
Within minutes of the call, officers arrived on the scene.
My main concern was that we've got to approach the situation and get to her without letting him know that we're on to him.
My right arm is paralyzed.
Okay, man, we're almost there.
You've got to hurry, please.
Okay, we're hurrying.
I'm going to end up dying here while you're talking to me.
That's one of us knocking on the door.
Oh, you said Sheriff's Department?
34, is that you said Sheriff's Department?
Yes. Should I go?
Can you make it? Can you get there to unlock?
I'll get it.
Okay.
The door.
It's the Sheriff's Department. Come out here in the hallway and talk to me.
What for?
Your adrenaline starts pumping. You start thinking, man, you know, is he going to come out of his apartment with the gun, or is he going to go ahead with the story that, you know, somebody stole my gun?
Let me see your hands as you come out the door. Put your hands straight up.
I don't understand. This is stupid. I don't know why.
What I'm going to do is check you for other weapons, all right? Turn around, face the wall.
At that time, the victim that was upstairs with Officer Hayes shouted out something like, you know, get me the paramedics. I already told you it was the guy downstairs, and all of a sudden his eyes got real big and he started to turn around and look at me, and I went ahead and handcuffed him.
No.
In 12 years that I've worked in this field, that was probably the longest I've ever had to wait.
Steve, we got a gunshot wound, left chest, upper chest, and one to the right arm.
Her blood pressure was dropping tremendously, and we could not see a lot of blood loss on the outside, so we knew we had a lot of blood loss on the inside. We knew we had no time to lose.
1, 2, 3.
With the amount of blood loss that she had and her vital signs not showing us any encouragement, even after a lot of fluids, I had my doubts that she was going to be even stable enough to handle any kind of a surgery.
Portia was rushed to the hospital as Detective Sergeant John Tilton, head of the investigation, arrived on the scene.
Did you go up there tonight?
Yeah, I did.
And why did you go up there? The suspect admitted to attempt murder, rape, confinement, and battery.
Upstairs tonight to rape her.
He was convicted of rape and attempt murder in the courts and took 40 years sentence for each charge, which means he'll be eligible for parole at the end of 40 years, making him a 62-year-old man.
Portia was hospitalized for 10 days, recovering from gunshot wounds to her chest and arm and severe cuts on her head.
She fought him the entire way, and when she saw the second shot coming, she put her hands over her face and then played dead until he left, which in fact saved her life.
Less than a month later, Portia returned to work as an attorney. But the painful memories of that night still linger.
I was terrified, and nothing was as soothing as hearing that operator's voice on the telephone. It was my line to reality, to the world. I do everything 100% now. I play hard, I work hard. I just do everything as if today is my last day.
This phone, please.
You hear so many victims dwell on how terrible things are in life. And yes, what happened to me was terrible, but I now know that I'm a survivor. I've gone on.
Tonight, we're not going to stay here tonight.
Right. I'm going to work.
I think she has a lot more confidence in who she is, and I'm proud that she showed what she had in her.
Big man? For about 2 months after the rape, I was terrified to be in a house in the evening by myself. But I think more than anything, Telling the story is very purging. It gets all of it out. I feel sorry for rape victims who can't tell people what has happened to them. If you hold it in, it just eats away at you. But if you can tell it and get it out, you can then go on with your life.